To be in it. I'll use your water glass.
Maybe I'm going to hear you this.
Yeah, so.
Oh, we won't record you. We're only recording Lucy.
Oh, okay. Well, that's fine.
Consent is required.
I don't mind if Lucy gets recorded.
Yeah.
No pressure.
Shannon?
Yeah.
It's like pointed over there.
Yeah, you should wait for the one.
Go ahead.
I do. You don't listen. Oh, what the hell are we saying? No. I wish you help. We did deep half guard, and that was like the only thing we focused on. And we just kind of repeated and drilled. Just the idea that when someone's crushing you from top half guard, that the way to stop getting crushed is to like you're gonna curl up and get as far underneath them as you can.
And we were both missing that.
Yeah, and I think that like I remember. Thank you. I remember thinking like that was the reason I wanted to teach it the first time around, but that's just like jujitsu. It's like you learn something and you go and then you have to kind of cycle around and learn it again.
Yeah.
And it kind of sinks in a little bit more, and you get with a slightly deeper understanding, you get a chance to practice it, and then maybe you can start applying it like you'll be in a situation and think, oh yeah,
Right.
right. And that's what happened to me with like deep half guard, because I used to hate it. Like I would just be in a situation getting crushed and feel totally helpless and all this kind of stuff. But so anyway, we missed you, class. We miss you, but Muriel, you're always free to come by and just kind of
Sit and watch.
yeah.
I would love to.
Yeah,
I need a desk.
Yeah, you can supervise us.
Yeah, you can come and supervise. Stand between you.
Yeah,
Make
no,
sure.
you're welcome anytime.
I
We'd love to
just
have you.
like, I don't know
Because
if
then
I'm
you don't
allowed.
feel-
Like,
You would not be the first person to come by and just like watch because they have FOMO.
Yeah,
I do. I have so much FOMO. It's still like in my calendar, so I get the notification every day. Oh, it's time to leave. Oh, it'll take you 12 minutes to get there. Leave now. And I'm like,
come in and hang out, because then you can at least
Yeah, I would love
see
to.
what we're working on. You know,
but Isabel, you're too far ahead of me.
I have not been going very regularly, but I'm trying.
So, I started martial arts when David was teaching at the West Roxbury Y in 1997. You guys know I'm 61. My son was 5. He's 30 now. So, just dating myself. But, like, I had wanted to learn martial arts, and I actually tried the 2 years I lived in China. But I had someone teaching me Tai Chi Chuan. It was too slow. And what was really big in China in like the late 90s was wushu. Just like the Chinese martial arts, are just full of like these swirls and these jumps and this acrobatic stuff. And there were actually a lot of foreigners. I was at the Sports Institute, and there was a lot of foreigners going there to learn that. And they said, oh, you should try and learn. I'm like, I don't have the body for that, for those leaps and splits and stuff like that. And it just, I couldn't explain it. It just wasn't appealing to me. I didn't see, that something was missing. I didn't know what it was. But the other thing was China was at that time really promoting wushu because they wanted to make it an Olympic sport. And so it was really, in that aspect, becoming more of a performance sport, where almost like gymnastics, where like you get points for whatever it is you're displaying. I didn't see the fighting or combat or self-defense.
So I give him 5 pounds extra.
So I didn't think about it for a while, and then, you know, when Glenn was 5, he had a friend. He's like, oh, there's this great karate class in West Roxbury, so we took him over. And the first class, I remember just watching David teach. I'm like, okay. He was, well, you've seen him in action, especially in karate. He's like this, well, even in jiu-jitsu, he's this combination of like, especially in karate, where, you know, so many karate classes are like very classical Japanese, like Kobukai kind of stuff. Right. And you know, in karate class, we bow in and we bow out. But in between, it's like, call me, you know, call me by my first name. Don't call me sensei. Don't worry about it. Just more.
A lot of joking.
lot of ridiculous joking. Yeah. And especially with kids. Like, I've seen him with kids. When David gets going with kids,
Which is
such a
rant at the
I
end.
know. It's
And then
hilarious.
we're there for like an extra 30 minutes.
And when you have a room full of kids, there's so much material.
Yep.
And
He brings
so,
that material into the adult classes too.
Yeah.
I think it makes people feel safe.
I think it does too.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember, so I would sit along the back wall, and I remember, I remember sitting there, and he, the kids were sparring, and he stopped the action. He was trying to explain to the kid, like, why, like, this kid kept coming after him. It's like, why you need to move. Like, you need to move. And the way he explained it was, he kind of stopped, and he was, I've heard them tell the story like a million times since, but it was, you pick your nose, and of course all the kids are like,
no.
and in my
I don't
mind
eat
I'm
it
like, yeah, when I was a kid I picked he goes, your nose looks pretty clean, I think you might probably pick your nose. So you know when you stick your finger up your nose, and you're chasing that boogie around. Am I being recorded? You stick your finger, you want to pick your nose, and there's that one boogie that just keeps like evading. That's how you lose it. And I was sitting there against the wall going, yep, I know that boogie. I was laughing so hard. And the kids are like,
They're like, I'm not gonna reveal that I can relate to that.
no, none of the kids want to reveal that. In my head, I'm like,
But you're like, I do.
I'm like, oh yeah, I know that boogie.
It's me every morning.
But like the deeper part of that is one is, okay, I'm not the only one in planet Earth that's ever tried to pick the nose, chase the boogie. All right. So anyway, so he says, well, he's the finger and you're the boogie. I'm like, oh my God, that's genius. So you want to be like when he comes after you, you gotta be like woo 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 woo. So he had all kinds of analogies like that, and I was just like, oh my God, because the kids, it was brilliant because the kids totally got what he was saying and could like put that into action. Yeah. So, but that was like all the kind of things, and so, so Glenn was there, and I sat there watching him teach, and there was an adult class that would come in the afternoons, and there was a woman in the adult class that had sons around Glenn's age, or a little older, and I knew her because her kids went to the same preschool as Glenn, and she's a few years older than me, and she was like a purple belt. She was like, Martha, wow, I was going to take martial arts. I think like if I had been a kid, where I could be now. And she just looked at me and was like, you're not dead yet.
Well, that's what I
Where if you
told
started
them.
now, where would you be?
This is why I became Excel.
And so that was like for me, like stepping into like realizing I was just turning 40. It was like, oh my God,
You don't need to carry it.
I can start something new and learn it. And this is what I really want to do, and I can like be part of this. So that was me stepping into martial arts at the age of 40, and it like, well, it changed my life. Yeah. Right. And then so to jujitsu, I told you to be so. But also karate for me was like I've always been an athlete, but this was a totally different way of moving. Like you do kata, and I felt really awkward. But and then
I bet it was
and
humbling.
then learning how to spar, like people coming at you and like blocking, kick back, and it's just like completely new territory. And that part of you that is like afraid of hurting someone because you've never hurt somebody, and like David's still kind of after me about this, was like, karate, and I see it with kids, like for the really meek and mild kids, will bring out their inner tiger, whatever it is, and that's the part that you want to bring out, so they're not afraid to defend themselves. And the kids that are just like maybe really aggressive, it brings them back a couple of steps to really understand when and how they have responsibility to use their power. So it's a real equalizer in that way. The other thing was I noticed like right off the bat, there were always little girls in the class, and he would like bring the kids up to spar and he'd match them up. And anytime there was a boy matched up with a girl, he would notice expressions on the kid's face. And he goes, "Why are you making that face?" He's like, "You're a yellow belt. She's a green belt. Because she's a girl? She's a green belt." And then he would tell tell the story about Debbie Winter. He was a green belt when he was a yellow belt. When he was a purple belt when he was a green belt. And one day she said, "We're going on a date." And Debbie Winter could kick his ass.
Oh my gosh.
But he would say, "So, first of all, she's a green belt, you're a yellow belt. But also, you're a good fighter. You have three techniques, and you throwing your techniques is going to help her learn how to defend herself." So it was he always had this language of like equalizing whatever was going on between the boys and the girls. And I really appreciated that in a way that the kids could understand. And like you would see that play out in the classes. And then there was also community because, with Glenn, I don't know if I had started by then, but like we took Glenn into the movies one time. He was probably like 8 or 9 years old. We're over at the Fenway and we're walking through the lobby, and this big tall kid was walking by and said, "Hey Glennon, how you doing?" I'm like, "Oh hey, Tina." And it was like one of the older kids in high school from the class that Glennon knew, and he treated me like, "Oh hey Glennon." It wasn't like there was just so much boys. I'm like, "Oh yeah," and I was like, "Oh, that was kind of cool," And then so it was changed my life when I started karate. But then when David went over and started doing jiu-jitsu, and we're basically the same age, and so it was 2006. I was 46, and he started introducing us to jiu-jitsu.
From the bar as well?
Yeah, because I have a one.
He was like really cool. And he told me.
Yay, nay?
Sorry? I'm good, thank you.
We're all set?
Okay.
I need to get to the point.
For now.
Yeah.
No.
I told you I was long-winded.
The journey. I'm here for it.
I saw jiu-jitsu and I was like, I want to do that. I want to do that. Like, I want to be on the ground, learning how to like move and like defend myself on the ground. I don't even know why. It just spoke to me. So I ended up going over to the place in Newton and learning some of those classes and all that stuff like that. But I think because I started later, so for me, the other thing was that the focus of David's classes, whatever we did, has always been self-defense. Like I watched, I'm like, oh, I noticed no one ever goes to competitions. He's like, yeah, I did that when I was in high school, but it's like it's changed. That was always self-defense. You've seen it in karate.
Yeah.
You'd be doing movements. Well, here's the self-defense application. And it's like, if you can't defend yourself, why are you doing martial arts? And that's the basis of everything that we do. I really appreciated that. And so jiu-jitsu was just like, wow. At that time in 2006, there was still plenty of women in jiu-jitsu, but it depends on where you are. So in our class, I was like one of 2 or 3, and then they pretty much fell away, and I was the only woman. And I was older than everyone, and I didn't care. And it was like for me, like privately, it was like a little source of pride. And it just helped me feel stronger. Like even like karate helped me feel strong, but Brazilian jiu-jitsu helped me feel like even stronger. And
so that's why he told me that he doesn't over anymore.
So I went over to Roberto's place, and that place was even more, smells more like a gym. It's like they do jiu-jitsu and MMA, and there was maybe a couple couple of women over there, and they were pretty good, but it was mostly like guys, you know, like there's guys and bros and stuff like this. But you know, it forced me, who is a little more introverted, although you may not believe it, but to like jump in and just do the classes and do the training, and I just really liked it. So for me, it's like lifelong learning to defend myself, and I love running the women's class. You know, I think because I think it's just really important. I'm just so happy when you all show up. I really am, because you know, like I think we run a place where it kind of reflects that everyone can, like the guys that are there. I think anyone can feel safe with them. Unless they're like a brand new white belt.
Those are the scariest ones.
Yeah,
Really are the people who wear white belts at a different gym and come in, and they've already got a little bit going on. But it's like other gyms are like really sporty, and like people try to just hurt each other there.
Yeah. Well, you know what's funny is there's so many jiu-jitsu Facebook pages and websites and stuff like this. And for a while, I was following this it was like older women in BJJ or women over 40 or something like this. And I was following it, but I stopped following it because like all the posts were like, man, I train like 5 times a week, and like, oh, like I got my elbow cranked, and like I'm gonna be out because they're gonna have to have knee surgery, and like all they talking about was injuries. And I was going hard with this guy. Is that okay because he did this and the instructor didn't say anything? And I'm like no, like none of this is okay.
Right.
Like you shouldn't go train and be afraid that you're going to get injured. Like you're just going too hard. So,
And not communicating.
I'm not communicating, and like there's something in there about like that whole.
I don't think I was out.
The fact that we say it in karate and jiu-jitsu because like 50% of your training is for you and 50% is for your partner. And so that's another thing I think that really attracts me is that there's this mutuality when we come together and what we're doing, and that we're able to create a community where the people who come in kind of learn to understand that. And that I was just saying to David the other day, it's like, we really haven't had like a knucklehead come in here in like 5 or 6 years. We used to have a couple of knuckleheads coming in and kind of prove themselves. But we teach good jiu-jitsu, and I think it just builds your own sense of power and confidence that you can walk around with, and it's invisible. It's like your Wonder Woman invisible shield. Choke you out.
Yeah.
So that's what jiu-jitsu means to me. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. Cheers.
Cheers. Cheers. Afraid to pick up your glass.
I don't know what happened to it.
Cheers.
It's right there.
Wonder Woman invisible glass.
Oh, I won't record anybody else.